All right.
Alright, guys. I saw already in the chat 3 attempts. This proves the Trinity.
That's
There
what
we
I
go.
said too. I commented the stream is about to become a trinity.
That's a sign, man. That's a sign. Okay, guys.
That's good.
Now I'm using my mobile data here. Hopefully this will be more stable. And it's already almost 12 midnight here. Bro, let's rush through the super chats and then we're gonna call it a day. We're not gonna give up just yet. We're not defeated. I claim it's the shaitan that tries to bring the stream down for sure.
Yes.
Let me see. Okay, let's return to the super chats real quick. Thank you everybody who's tuning back in. It's a great way to decimate the viewers for sure. Okay, here we go. Where are we at? Shia Sunni. We were talking about the Shia Sunni, right? That was the last super chat. I didn't fully answer it yet. So ultimately, for me personally, the 12 Imam thing is a huge turnoff. I didn't perceive the message of Islam as something that is directly attached to a bloodline, per se. So I couldn't resonate with that. For me, it was the most qualified person would be able to become a Khalifa, would become a successor, so to speak, and not just because you're bound to a bloodline, you will become qualified to hold that position. So I don't personally believe in the 12 Imam claim, which is one of the fundamentals in Shia Islam. And this personally reminded me as well a little bit of the 12 apostles of Christ, and then yet again people, different opinions, etc., etc. It kind of brought it away for me from the monotheistic message that I got from reading the Quran. It didn't really fit. Yeah, this is why I would rather say Sunni, but at the same time the most important thing for me was, if anything, to become a believer in God, not again to be focused on sectarianism. So yeah, that is that. What do you have to say about that, Daniel? Shia, Sunni?
Like I said earlier, that I thought Zakir Naik's answer was really good. He said that in the Quran there is no Shia, there is no Sunni. You're Islam, you're Muslim, or you're not.
Right. Makes sense. Esmedin Patkovic donated $10. Thank you very much, Esmedin. Hvala, brate. Says Salam, Bobby. Salam. Care with the schools of thought. Best to follow the Quran and the Hadith. Pray accordingly. You are analytical in your thought process. Use what Allah has given us before taking things into account. Yeah, for sure. I mean, by saying Quran and Hadith, it's kind of tricky, because for a layman that just enters into Islam to read all the Hadiths, that's impossible. So therefore, a school of thought is not negative, because you can learn something, you can already extract some wisdom that is based upon the Quran and the Hadiths, because you have no choice out of that. I mean, how fast do you want to go through Sahih Muslim, Sahih al-Bukhari and the rest? It's a lot, So yeah, I see a place for schools of thought, for sure. Thank you very much, Esmedin. Abu Salman says, you declare to people, not to Allah. Allah sees your heart. Is that, I don't know, connected to the Shahada, that you're declaring it to people?
Yeah. He might be right on that. I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree. Listen, I think we can distinguish in religion between your personal connection to God and then the social fabric that comes with the religion. So ultimately, yes, if you submit your will to God, you're doing that personally, of course, and that is the most important thing. However, yet again, if you want to be part of the Ummah, so to speak, and you want to go for pilgrimage to Mecca, for example, right? Or you want to go to the mosque, you want to be part of that fabric of society, then you will have to declare to people certain things as well. Just as you declare to the cashier that you want a certain bun, for example, in a bakery and not the bread. So you have to declare certain things. It's just what it is. Right, even if you enter a jiu-jitsu school, in most instances, you will have to declare that you want to train there. And you will have to accept that you will have to wear a gi or no gi, depending on the lesson. So that's just what it is. They are social constructs and contracts. Thank you very much for the donation. Aftab Ahmed says, what Omar series? I watch the Omar series. It is like the movie The Message. Okay, thank you very much.
Umar? With a U or?
He writes it with an O, but I think he's talking about Umar. There's a series. I reacted to a video and there was some footage of that series. Mal says, I'll help set up a Discord server if you want. Thank you very much. I have a Discord server. I set the thing up 2 years ago and I never used it. And people do use actually my server. They're still discussing there, but I'm never there. Sorry, guys. Ahmed Safan donated, wow, here is a $100 donation, $100 Australian donation. Thank you very much. I'm going to give you an applause. Ahmed Safan, thank you very much for the generous donation, my friend. Salam, guys. Salam. Follow the Quran, Hadith, and Fiqh, the Madhab, and majority scholars. They did the hard work, so we don't have to. We are Muslims, not anything else. People that call people kafir and proclaim innovation of others without being a scholar is dangerous and divides. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I find it pretty cringe, to be honest, when I see Muslims on YouTube attacking each other. So I don't like seeing that whatsoever. Or be it in any niche. I saw it back in the day as well, in veganism or whatnot, when people started kind of imploding their own movement. It's counterproductive. So you should never do that, obviously. And
when vegans become ex-vegans, you were never vegan. Makes
never
no sense.
Yeah, never vegan. Yeah, always. Never Christian, never vegan. The funniest thing is, I come from Macedonia, right? But politically, I'm inclined to believe that Macedonia, which is a historical fact, was part of Bulgaria. And therefore, I say that ethnically, we are Bulgarians. So, since I proclaimed that on my YouTube channel, the Macedonians told me that I've never been Macedonian before either. So there you go.
Same like the vegans.
Yeah, it's always the same thing, you know. Anyways, yeah, you're right, man. If anything, you should be a Muslim and nothing else. The other debates, leave it to the scholars to discuss who is a kafir and who not. Thank you very much for the generous donation, brother. Bajat Khan donated £2. Salam, Bobby, are you still active on Subscribestar? No, not really. I should delete my page at some point. I think I have like 2 followers there. Thank you very much, but Subscribestar, I couldn't really post things there without them being censored, so I stopped. The same applies to Patreon as well, and this is why I have a Telegram group attached to my Patreon. Because, fun fact, I uploaded a video here on YouTube. I'm just going to say it was a video about the ABCDEFG movement, and then it got deleted by YouTube, obviously. So I thought, that's a cool idea to re-upload that thing onto Patreon, so at least my patrons can watch it. And guess what? A day later, Patreon deleted that video as well. Right, so they follow the same agenda and they don't allow certain things there either. So therefore, I do use Patreon as a platform that you can enter in, but then you get a Telegram link, and this is where we actually discuss. Because Patreon itself is pretty useless. Same liberal agenda.
Snowflake.
Yeah, hardcore. XYZ donated 6 Malaysian rupee, I think. What is your suggestion to your Christian friends? I think that's for you, Daniel, because you talked about Christian friends.
Oh, what is my suggestion for my Christian friends? It's not really up to me, is it? I mean, I think it doesn't hurt to research. It wouldn't hurt them to open the Quran and read, you know. Yeah, of course, that'd be, I mean, my suggestion to them would obviously just become Muslim, of course, but like I said, it's not up to me. Allah is leading them wherever He wants to, so all you can do is lead by example, you know.
Right.
If I give them a suggestion in it anyway, they won't listen. Of course not.
Yeah. My response to Christians ultimately is not so much about conversion to Islam, etc., etc. I mean, I have to make the step myself, but what I learned through researching Islam is that Islam is not the enemy, quite the opposite. So Christians They should reflect who the true enemy is. And I would say that in this day and age, it is masquerading as liberalism. And it is destroying the fabric of anybody that is God-minded, right? So therefore, Christian or Muslim or Jew, if anything, you should ally with Muslims. Even if you disagree with Tawheed and you are pro-Trinity, etc., that's all fine and dandy. But the core beliefs, the core family structure is found in both of your religions. And therefore, ultimately, I'm not talking about interfaith movements here where we mix and match everything. No. But just in terms of ideals, you should not look at the Muslims as the Antichrist, but rather as allies in the fight against Satan.
To play devil's advocate, I think a lot of them don't understand like what Islam even stands for.
Of course not.
They have no idea, and I also didn't know before I looked into it, so you can't blame them. But I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine, and he's Christian, and I was just kind of challenging him a bit, just having conversation about like asking him like about how does he rationalize like believing in Jesus if Jesus is God, but he was also a baby and he needed to be taken care of, so a human took care of God and like this kind of stuff, and he pooped and he, peace be upon him. How do you rationalize that? And he just immediately like sort of demonized me, and it's like I don't like interacting with you anymore. And like I stand for a lot of this stuff because he's pretty active on social media. He's always posting like pretty engaging content that I mostly agree with, at least half, But now I think he doesn't want to talk to me ever again, despite the fact that most of our belief is like the same. I'd be happy to be his brother, but I think it's odd how they view, a lot of them view Islam as demonic. It's crazy.
Demonic.
Yeah. It's really crazy.
Yeah, they see it as demonic. As I said, the craziest claim that I heard was that the Quran itself was a channeled book by a demon. So this was the perception, some channeled book by a demon, and that is here to destroy Christianity, etc., etc. So yeah, they just see it as an enemy. They cannot understand that Muslims are just worshipping God, right? So if you believe that God manifested in 3 persons, okay, so be it, but we're still talking about God, right? In Orthodoxy, it would be the essence of God, that is one. Fair enough. So let's say the Muslims believe only in that essence of God, and they don't believe in the rest. That's fine. Nevertheless, you have still the same distinction between good and evil, and you should not sin. And what is happening in our society, everybody that is mindful of God will see what is right and wrong, so therefore you're on the same page. So it's a theological difference and not a social one, not a moral one, right?
Really more similar than different. Like the similarities that they have are huge when you think about it. Massive. But they can't acknowledge this. They want to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Right on. Okay, let's proceed. Esmedin Patkovic donated $10 again. Thank you very much. Bobby, did you hear of the last person to enter heaven? Also, did you ever hear about what the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, will do for his ummah on the day of judgment? Both are eye-openers. I recommend. Now I'm going to check it out. I haven't heard about it. Have you heard about it? About the last person that will enter heaven? No, I haven't heard about it. No. I will save those things to my playlist and then check them out, brother. Thank you very much.
Boy, would that be something if you're the last person to enter heaven? The door shuts behind you. Whoa. Lucky. Just on time.
S. Sugar donated $5. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Alaikum salam. I have recently come across your channel and I love how you apply logic and reason in your videos. Thank you for your content. It makes me very happy. Thank you very much, man. Your comment makes me very happy as well. I'm trying to use my rationale, my logic, and my reasoning without worshipping it, right? Try my best. Abdullah Alk, my false idol. Abdullah Alk donated $7.30. Thank you very much. Thoughts on moving live stream audio to Spotify? Never thought of it, man. Honestly, I need somebody that is more tech savvy than me and can do that for me ultimately, because yeah, I'm just.
It'd be very easy if
probably
you
would be
record.
easier.
If you use Zoom, if you use Zoom, if you record the Zoom, it will give you an audio file. You just slap that straight up anywhere.
Okay, fair enough. Then I would just have to piece it together because it's split apart in 40-minute segments, and moreover, my computer will crash 10 times as well.
Yeah,
that's gonna be fun.
Discord probably has a similar feature.
Probably. Yeah. Otherwise, the Windows recorder itself, I guess, I could use. Okay. Emptying the Cup donated $5 again. Thank you very much. Video recommendation, episode 1. Okay, I'm going to save that as well to my playlist. Thank you so much for that. And I think this is all the Streamlabs donations we got. Let me just double check real quick if I missed any super chat. Yeah, I did. Okay, they're kind of separate here. 1 second. I need to reopen my window. Okay. One second. Oh, I have to filter through all of them. 1 second, guys.
Somebody sent me a message on Instagram.
Yeah, what did they say?
Message request, and they said, "Fake Orthodox clown" with some clown emojis.
See, it worked out, and that's why we showed the picture. That's why we showed the picture of you. I mean, you can rewatch it as well. We saw you in church, but that was all fake as well. You put it on, right? You just put it on to masquerade yourself as an Orthodox Christian, I assume.
Yeah, it's all a mask.
Yeah.
I was faking it. Fraud. Now check it out. This guy here, you guys can go blow him up. He said, "Fake Orthodox clown."
Damn clown. I'm always wondering what the reasoning behind such a thing would be. So, do they really think somebody would get out of his way to pretend to be an Orthodox Christian, and then to say
the amount of time I would have to spend for what? I don't even understand.
Exactly?
Why would I?
What would be the benefit for that?
I even do?
Like, is some oil sheikh paying you for this, Daniel? You can admit it here.
Yeah, right.
There's big money in that, right? Demolishing it.
It better be if I spent that much time in my life.
That's crazy, man. Okay, I'm scrolling still through, guys. I hope I didn't miss anything here. But the super chats and the Streamlabs, they're not really aligned. I think I answered all of it. I saw some different things here. Abir Isa donated without a question, thank you very much. Philip donated as well, thank you very much, with no question attached. Saeed donated with a sticker that says Yum. Okay, thank you very much. No, I think we had it all. We have another sticker by Ahmed who says, "How is it going?" That's going well, thank you very much. Here's another one by Mohammed Shebi. This one's for you, Daniel. How does the perspective change towards God feel? But I think you already answered that.
Yeah, I did. It's like I said, like Tawheed, only having one God is much more simple and it's much more humbling. And so I found it to be better. I mean, better.
Yeah, Vugar donated 25 zloty, Polish currency. Simple answer to free will. You have free will, but it can be determined by Allah. Allah is who has infinite knowledge. I think what he means to say is that you have free will, but even that free will is already determined by God. So he gave you that free will, ultimately. What we understand as free will is already given by God. Yeah.
And it can be taken.
Exactly right. Habiba donated £10. Thank you very much, Habiba. No question attached. Vugar donated again and says, nowadays people confuse Sunnah, which is actions, with Hadiths, which is sayings. What do you think? Thanks for everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Alaikum salam. Yeah, man, I'm not a scholar, let alone a Hadith scholar, to really go into this and make a judgment call. Ultimately, some people are of the conviction, I heard, that the actions are not truly described by the Hadiths. But I say, if you take the standpoint, by what else would they be described? So there's literally nothing else you could go by other than the Hadiths. And there's somebody that, coming from somebody that was very critical of Hadiths himself, I was very critical about it and still am analyzing it. But nevertheless, if we're talking about certain actions, you can only find them within the Hadiths. Where else would you find them?
This guy said people are confusing Hadith with things that are Sunnah.
Yeah.
I don't see why anyone would do that. I mean, some Hadith talk about things that are obligatory. Some Hadith talk about things that are haram. Some Hadith talk about things that are halal. You know what I mean? I don't know why anybody would confuse Sunnah, the concept of Sunnah. Sunnah means, like, if I'm not mistaken, it's like something that's not obligatory, but it's highly recommended. It's a good thing to do, sort of like extra credit.
Right.
Right? And a Hadith is just a saying of Prophet Muhammad, so I'm not sure why anybody would confuse those two things. Maybe they just don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, again, within those sayings, you see certain practices and certain actions. So, yeah, I mean, where else do you see what Prophet Muhammad has done, has not done? You find it within the Hadiths. So this is how, you come to the Sunnah. Anyways, thank you very much for the donation. This one's for you, Daniel. Abdullah Alk asks, did Daniel mention his father thoughts on did he mention his father's thoughts on Islam? Okay, they're asking you what your father thinks about Islam. Interesting.
Yeah, good question. My father, where to start? Growing up, my parents, neither of my parents really mentioned religion to me at all. So I was kind of raised in an atheistic, or how do you say, agnostic household.
Agnostic.
When I was Orthodox Christian, I told my dad about it, and he didn't really have much to say about it. But my dad is a pretty spiritual guy. He's a very intuitive guy. He's definitely ponders these things. I can tell. He doesn't speak about it much, though. But when I became Muslim, I did kind of poke at him a little bit and try and get an answer out of him. What does he really believe? And I don't think he really knows. I think he's kind of, to me, it sounds like he's Muslim, but because I asked him, like, Christians believe that Jesus is God and man is also God. He said, well, that's not what I think, or something like that. And, so to me, I'm like, oh, that sounds like you're Muslim, Dad. But it was intense for him, for me to become Muslim. I could tell. He came to visit me not long ago, and we were having lunch, and he said something to the effect of, like, every time I come to a crossroads in my life, or an important point in my life, something like this happens. And I didn't push it at the moment, but later I asked him, I said, Dad, what did you mean by that? Something like what? He said, my son became Muslim. And I said, and what are you talking about, the crossroads? What are you picking between? What are you confronted with? And he said, like, I have to do something about this. About what? He said, about God, my belief in God.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, inshallah, he will be led to the truth.
That's beautiful, man. It's profound. It just reminds me that people that are not so indoctrinated into Christianity, their beliefs line up much, much more with Islam, obviously. I told this story multiple times here on this channel when we talked about the Trinity with my dad. He looked at me and told me that this is the craziest thing he's ever heard in his life. And
that's so funny.
Yeah, and he thought that this is the Muslims believing this. I said,
right,
no,
that was the funniest part for me.
Yeah, I'm talking about us.
So that's what the Muslims believe?
Yeah, that's what the Muslims believe. That's crazy. No, it's us. It's us, Dad. So, yeah, intuitively, nobody comes to think about the Trinity. No way. Okay, next question. What is the timeline for the Shahada? So, I said it before, I gave it a deadline to before Ramadan, basically. So, if I were to convert, then I would like to go into Ramadan as a Muslim. Thank you very much. We have another donation by Video Games Planet.
And that's proof that you're not procrastinating. Shaitan is not making you procrastinate, because that is the hardest time to become a Muslim. If you were really procrastinating, you would say, okay, after Ramadan, I'll decide.
No, I would be happy to fast, actually. The thing is, I've been battling my I'm not going to name it here, long virus symptoms for quite some time. And I actually started fasting now since a few weeks. And since I did this, I finally started feeling better again. Like, actually, my body started healing again. And I was even convinced after veganism and all of those fasts that fasting is destructive to the body. You shouldn't do it. Just eat raw meat, eat raw eggs for breakfast, ultimately. Break the fast right away. But now I came to the conclusion that no, if there is a sickness, it's actually very, very beneficial. And lately I've been eating only 1 or 2 meals per day. So I'm already fasting.
What would I do?
Yeah, I'm already fasting.
I've gone through a similar kind of wave where before I was like, no, eat as much as possible. It's good.
Yeah.
I never fast and eat a lot, and because I was doing like the pro-metabolic kind of thing where it's it's stressful for your body if you don't eat, so it's better to eat all the time. And,
right.
And recently, just like the past month or so, I'm like been playing around with eating less. And eating less often as well, and I'm like, I actually feel pretty good doing this. So,
yeah, I can relate, man. I feel much, much better like that. Finally, my inflammation levels go down again, etc., etc. So it's way better. I'm gonna keep it like that. And then when Ramadan comes about, there's not much of a change, but the drinking has to be cut then as well. No water. It's a dry fast after all.
Yeah. I mean, you can hydrate at night if you know how to do it well.
Sure.
You include the minerals and all that stuff, and it's, I think, not too difficult. Inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah. Okay, brother, this is all the super chats, all the Streamlabs donations, and I think we're going to call it here before this thing crashes yet again.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for coming on, bro. It was an amazing talk.
Thank you for having me, Bobby. And may Allah bless you for allowing me to get on here and tell my story. And hopefully it fell upon some ears that were inspired or moved by the story.
I'm sure they did, man. I'm sure they did. It was absolutely beautiful, especially the part of your marriage, obviously, but the whole journey to Islam was absolutely amazing. Thank you very much for sharing, man. Is there anything that you want to plug here? I'll link to your Instagram and YouTube, but...
Yeah, if anybody wants to reach out to me, message me, you could probably Instagram DM is the best way. If not, my YouTube should be in the description there, and you can find my email there if you want to email me or whatever.
Amazing. Okay, brother, we're going to call it a day. It's 12:20.
Yeah, it's way past my bedtime.
Way past. Yeah, definitely. Mine as well, man. Thank you very much again for coming on, brother. We're going to stay in touch. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. All right. We're going to tune out now. Thank you very much for being here, Daniel. Talk to you soon, bro.
Yeah, man.
See you, brother.
Salam.
Salam. All right, guys. And this is it for today's live stream, or live streams, plural. This took a while, so the hardcore supporters will be here at part 3, the Trinity of streams. The others tuned out after the first one. Thank you so much, everybody, for supporting. Now I'm going to definitely tune out. I'm super tired, and I'm going to eat a little bit. Haven't eaten anything in hours again. Been fasting. Thank you very much, everybody, for liking the stream. Thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you very much for donating. And God willing, tomorrow we will be back with a new video. Alright, guys, but this is it for today's live stream. As always, may God bless you all. Much love and peace.